pretty sure we'll have all the same problems with Iran, but there will be some big differences. Iran will have a nuclear weapon, it will have ballistic missiles, Iran will be heavily armed with new conventional weapons, which will include Chinese and Russian missiles and other weapons, and the Iranian economy will have recovered and they'll be flush with cash. But the ultimate in temporary, I mentioned that this is a temporary deal. Paragraph 36 is amazing. Paragraph 36 gives Iran the right to walk away from the deal anytime it feels the U.S. is not meeting obligations for any reason with a 35-day notice. It's unbelievable, but it is true. The agreement calls for a dispute resolution mechanism, so it contemplates the possibility that either the U.S. or the European powers or Iran would complain that the other side is not in full compliance with the agreement. It contemplates a resolution mechanism that carries on for 35 days. At the end of that, if any party, including Iran, determines that the outcome of this resolution mechanism is unsatisfactory, then they can walk away from the deal after 35 days. Let me just quote the actual language from this because I know how hard it is to believe this. Here's the quote. If the issue, now the issue we're referring to is any dispute that is taken to the, this dispute resolution mechanism. If the issue still has not been resolved to the satisfaction of the complaining participant, and if the complaining participant deems the issue to constitute significant non-performance, then that participant could treat the unresolved issue as grounds to cease performing its commitments under this JCPOA in whole or in part. There's the fifth specific problem that I have with this. I think it has the practical effect of making it very, very difficult for Israel to defend itself from a very dangerous and growing threat. We know Iran is already going to receive delivery of very sophisticated anti-aircraft missiles from Russia. And separately, because of the UN resolution that was passed earlier this month, Iran is now eligible for upgraded battle tanks, armored combat vehicles, large caliber artillery, combat aircraft, attack helicopters, warships, and missiles or missile systems, end quote. Folks, these are not defensive weapons, these are offensive weapons. And this advanced weaponry can target Israel from greater distance and cause greater destruction. The last of the specific things that I wanted to mention that are so problematic about this agreement is the proliferation that I think is unfortunately inevitable. You know, you think about it, the world has actually done a reasonably decent job of keeping nuclear weapons pretty bottled up for 70 years. It's not been perfect. We would all wish that North Korea hadn't violated the agreement that we were told would prevent them from having a nuclear weapon. We would wish that the Pakistanis and the Indians hadn't detonated nuclear weapons, and they did. But these are rare exceptions to a non-proliferation regime that has generally been quite effective. I think this deal, it just makes the Middle East so, so dangerous. The Sunni Arab states feel intensely threatened by Iran for very good reason. Turkey worries a great deal about Iran. The Saudis, other Arab states, probably the Turks, the Egyptians, they are not going to tolerate the nuclear-armed Iran and not develop the same capabilities of their own. They have the ability either to develop it internally or to acquire. They have either the ability or the wealth or both. These countries are going to have nuclear weapons, in my view. And I can't think of a region in the world where I would rather, where I'd less want to see the proliferation of nuclear weapons. So not only will Iran have the ability to target Israel, but based on their past history, I think we have to fear that they might very well pass on this capability to terrorist organizations who might do the work for it. And anyone who doubts the impact of a nuclear-armed Iran in destabilizing the Middle East, well, they ought to just look at what they're doing right now without a nuclear weapon. Now, the heart of the president's argument is something I alluded to a moment ago. The president says we have to accept this agreement because the alternative is war. Well, let's unpack that a little bit. Chairman Dempsey, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, has testified before Congress that he never told the president that this is either a deal or war. And from the beginning, the president used to say that he would walk away if it were a bad deal. Well, at best, this deal delays Iran's nuclear weapons program. More likely, it enables Iran's nuclear program. And either way, the deal irrefutably legitimizes their nuclear program. See, I think no deal is better than a bad deal, and there is a course, there's a third course, an alternative. And here's what I think it is. It's a course of action that would change the minds of the regime. And what I mean by that is very tough sanctions. I think what we need to do is what we should have done a while ago. Impose sanctions that are so tough that it cripples the Iranian economy. Now that's not pretty, but it has to happen, and it has to result, which I think it will, in considerable domestic unrest. We've seen that before, recently, in Iran. And in that context, over an extended period of time, we've got to make sure that the Iranian regime decides that their hold-on power is safer without the nuclear weapons, and therefore without the crippling sanctions, than it is with the nuclear weapons. Essentially, the decision that Gaddafi made. That's the point at which you can have an effective binding agreement. So let me just conclude. As we move forward, I think it's essential that Congress has to assert itself to protect the American people. This deal did not meet any of the negotiating goals that it set out to make. This agreement does not make America safer. I think we need to pass a congressional resolution of disapproval in order to stop this deal. That'll require 60 votes to overcome a filibuster in the Senate, and it'll then require 67 votes to overcome a presidential veto. Those are difficult hurdles to overcome. You know, senators are often called on to cast important votes. Some are more important than others. This vote on this deal strikes me as quite possibly the most important vote I'm going to cast in my entire time in the United States Senate. So let's just summarize the essential facts. It's a deal that would provide a massive present-day upfront cash infusion to the Iranian terrorist machine. It would cause untold destruction and misery in the near term. In the medium term, it would legitimize and pave the way for the world's most dangerous regime to have the world's most dangerous weapon. This deal seriously jeopardizes Israel's security, which is something I care very deeply about, and it also jeopardizes American security in a fundamental way. And nobody should kid themselves here. Like every other radical Islamic terror movement, if Iran is able to inflict harm on Americans, Iran will inflict harm on Americans. And the more harm, the better in the twisted mindset of this regime. This deal would give Iran the capacity to do that in unprecedented and massively destructive ways. So I pledge to you, I will do everything I can to defeat this deal, and I encourage you to do the same. Thank you very much.